Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. There is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. Welcome back, guys, to another day. Trading the volatility really on a lower time frames. It's just been an absolute madhouse. I think in Asia, we dropped, just going to use ETH as an example, we dropped about 150 to 200 points. We recovered in Europe, and now hopefully we can maybe get some truer directionality in New York. But yeah, just unsurprisingly, lots of volatility in the market after the wipeout that we had over the weekend. We're going to continue to dissect what that means for the market and, of course, where we go from here. But first, I'm Tommy. You guys also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined by Max and Tucker. Probably Jackus as well when he finishes cooking in the Discord. So shout out to our premium members who are getting that exclusive cook right now. But before we can start talking about the market more in depth, more in detail, I know you guys are all probably wondering where we think things are going next, or, you know, just maybe outlining a myriad of different scenarios that the market could take. Before we can do that, guys, I'm going to need you to smash that like button, whatever you have to do. Maybe you got liquidated over the weekend. Maybe you're celebrating short profits, different reasons to smash that like button. Take some frustration out on it. Maybe it's a euphoric button pressing, but we're going to do our best to cook you guys up the best show that we can today and see where majors are going, where altcoins are going, and of course, where equities are going as well, as we are now 4 days into the second month of Q1. But yeah, it's like I said at the start of the show, we are seeing quite a bit of volatility on a lower time frame, which shouldn't be totally surprising, right? Whenever you have basically a 1,000 point move in a single daily candle on ETH that goes both ways, right? I mean, the order books are effectively decimated. And, you know, there's usually a little bit of that purgatory period as those books repopulate. I think we're in that right now pretty clearly, awaiting the true direction, right? Are we going to get more chop? Are we going to trend? I think ETH above 3K would be an enormously positive signal. When I look at majors across the board, right, we've had a tremendous amount of buyback. And so the first question everybody is kind of asking themselves, did I miss the bottom? Well, I think when we zoom out, when we look at Sol, when we look at ETH, when we look at BNB, everything but Bitcoin has effectively kind of broken its local market structure. So for that reason, you know, I don't think that it's time to start FOMOing back in just yet. But I think if we reclaim those levels, it paints an incredibly promising picture for what that wipeout could be going forward. So I think that's really all we need to be watching, right? We are kind of grinding into those levels right now. We tested them last night. We got spat back out, but we are still trading up here at this elevation. So yeah, we are kind of waiting to see what the market will do. But I think a reclaim, as I said, would be tremendously bullish for those assets. You probably start to see people risk back on in some of these altcoins that have been sold off over the last week or two if these levels are reclaimed. And I think that is worth paying attention to, obviously, because a lot of the de-risking that we saw here over the last few days was, I mean, you can kind of recognize like that institutional footprint a few different ways. We've kind of talked about it, like Bitcoin. Somebody wants out of Bitcoin. Well, that 15-minute sell algorithm, I don't know who it is, but I always see it. You know, when they're running that sell algo, they're usually selling alts as well. We get kind of what we saw last weekend. So yeah, I'm interested. Are they going to keep selling those altcoins? Are they given a reason to be forced back into the market? Obviously, we have some headline risk later today with David Sachs speaking about potentially, you know, the United States involvement with crypto. But those are really my thoughts so far today, guys. I think we have some levels that we need to flip, but these bounces have been incredibly encouraging thus far. I don't want to get too ahead of my skis. It was a huge move. We could definitely continue ranging from here, and that might, I would argue, be the healthiest thing for this market at this point. But this really has just been a total leverage trader death over the last few weeks and the last few months. And I would even argue the last few years, especially on Bitcoin. But how are we doing, guys? What are we seeing in the markets? What are we thinking about the buyback? Obviously, the rejection last night. Any thoughts that we have on the current price action?
I mean, I'd love for us to be so back, man. I would absolutely love it. And I think we need to mark out some levels where that would be the case. For me, Bitcoin like above this high, above 102, and I think we're back. ETH, like you said, above 3K, even maybe not that high, but 3,100, something like that, above this, nuke structure, and I think we're back. Until then, I think it's prudent to warrant a little bit of caution. This was not the best, right? This was the weekly open. We rejected that, but like you said, we do have a lot of headline risk. If Sachs coming out and he's like, yeah, that sovereign wealth fund is going to hold a bunch of Bitcoin, or we're going to have a SBR or super, favorable crypto regulation, then all this could change very quickly. Also, it's, should be mentioned, I think, the reason for the sell-off was the trade war, was all these tariffs. We've seen that somewhat soften in recent hours. Mexico is somewhat bent the knee. Canada, he said they had a good phone call with Trump and they postponed it for a month. So if we can kind of reverse the catalyst that caused this dump, then I think there's a case to be made that we go higher. But, like we've said, on a higher time frame, some things like ETH breaking structure is not the best look. But you get a good headline, you get ETH to pop back up here, we could very much be back. And I'm personally not in the camp that we need to fill this wick like fully at all. I'm personally more in the higher low camp, right? Somewhere like that. But we will see. We'll see. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, like Tommy said, for order books to repopulate. And, this wiped out like, I don't even know, like $20 billion or something the other day. So we should let the dust settle a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
It's kind of the story of the bull market, right? Oh, you want to catch the next leg on leverage? Well, there's a massive FU wick. It's happened at like every major consolidation that Bitcoin has been in since the bear market lows, right? Like SVB, you had the dump from 30 to 25K. You had the ETF nuke. You had obviously multiple nukes in the 6-month range. Now we've got at least 2 up here as well. So just everybody on leverage, specifically everybody chasing altcoins on leverage, just getting absolutely carted out throughout this cycle.
Yeah, and let me just make something clear. Like, I don't think it's over by any means. Like, I think this is one of many mid-cycle corrections we've had. And even if we do go a little bit lower instead of higher low, I think we go a lot higher after that. So yeah, definitely do not think it's over by any means. I think we're gonna go a lot higher in 2025, but we just need to see crypto prove it a little bit right here. We're kind of in no man's land after a wick like that. So but yeah, big day with the czar speaking. So
yeah, it's I mean, here's what I keep struggling with is like we had this horrible escalation of like a news catalyst on the weekend. Only crypto was able to really trade that. One could argue that it was a huge overreaction that shouldn't have happened. We had no S&P 500 trading to kind of calm things down. We had a bunch of like neurotic schizo derivatives traders and like crypto freaks that just panicked on a Saturday, Sunday session off of bad news that was immediately de-escalated the following day, being Monday. I also recognize that this was the largest liquidation event that we've had since it was even bigger than FTX. And we had more negative funding than what happened during FTX. This is kind of like all the signs of a capitulatory bottom. I don't think there's any other way to interpret it. That if there ever was kind of a perfect storm for a capitulatory bottom, there's not an ounce of leverage left in especially altcoins after what happened on the weekend. we kind of had a mini black swan event. I mean, it was a historic day in crypto, not a fun day, but a historic day. Now, I just keep asking myself, like, can we just kind of climb this wall of worry without having to spend the next 3 or 4 months down here? Now, here's the thing. ETH looks a lot more fried than something like Bitcoin. There's some altcoins out there that look all right. I think if Bitcoin can just move up here, because Bitcoin held structure. That's the thing. Like, Bitcoin held its structure quite nicely. Looking at Bitcoin alone, if you just okay, imagine you hadn't looked at an altcoin chart all weekend, and right now you were just looking at the Bitcoin chart on the left. You probably would have thought, I bet ETH wicked down to like 2,600 and pop back up, right? There's no way you'd look at that Bitcoin chart and be like, ETH went to 2,100 based on what Bitcoin did. There's no way, right? So I keep kind of going back to that, saying to myself, you know what? If Bitcoin can manage to get back above that February open, which is basically the top of the candle yesterday, that's right where we rejected. It's possible that we could see, in kind of an isolated fashion, a V recovery on something like ETH. Now, here's the thing to note about that. V recoveries are a bit of a unicorn. They don't really ever happen. They happen like once every 5 years. Okay. Everybody likes to think that like you're just going to get a V recovery. That's not how it typically happens. 99 times out of 100, you form some type of range. You backfill a wick, at least partially. You don't have to fill the whole thing, but you spend some time backfilling the tremendous amount of inefficiencies. I mean, ETH dropped 700 points in like a 30-minute candle. There's some cleanup work that has to be done, right? But looking at Bitcoin structure, you have to recognize that Bitcoin is truly the only thing that matters in this market. Like, if Bitcoin is strong, then everything else is going to be fine. And it will get dragged up or saved kicking and screaming, whether it likes it or not. So, I look at the ETH structure and I'm like, I mean, man, it's fried. Like, if Bitcoin looked like ETH, I'd be like, we got some problems, but that's not what we're doing here. Bitcoin had an aggressive range low retest with an immediate buyback. That's a sign of strength. Now, do I expect Bitcoin and ETH to come back and fill their wicks? I do partially. Just because I know from a probabilities perspective, I don't have a crystal ball. Nobody does. But I can look at what's happened in the past when we've had somewhat comparable events. And typically you'd see Bitcoin from around this level. Maybe it pops a little higher. Who knows? We'll see. They'll make you think we're completely back and we're going to V recover. And then they'll sink it back into the wick a little bit. And I would say more times than not, it's not an entire wick fill, but they'll give you one more scary drop into like, halfway down on the daily wick or something like that. Okay. So I'm kind of at this weird point in time where I'm like, I think it makes a lot of sense to be locally a bit more protective, like a little bit more on the defense locally. But higher time frame here, I think there certainly is a case for like the bottom being in on all of these charts because of how aggressive that wick was. I mean, talk about cleaning out the market. People got carted out on a weekend. I mean, even those that were calling for 2,100 did not expect it in that kind of fashion. That was unbelievable. And even if they called for 2,100, they likely didn't close their shorts down there, right? Even if you had a short bias. That was a crazy move on a weekend. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of thinking locally, like I would love to see ETH tag 3K and then maybe backfill to like 2,600 and then we move up from there. But we'll have to see. Like it's a little heavy. It's Tuesday, which is never really the best. But I think in an ideal world, we'd see like 2,950 to 3,000 on ETH, and then backfill a little bit, and then we move up, and then on like the 12-hour, it looks like a V recovery, but it really wasn't. One thing I would like to mention as well is that last January and the first week of February for crypto last year were terrible. Like we were in the dumps, and we came back with a vengeance from basically like the first week of February through the middle of March. So things can change really, really quickly in crypto. And I'd be a little careful calling for the end of times because of a very crypto isolated capitulatory event that we saw on a weekend that was catalyzed by a news event that was immediately de-escalated within 24 hours. That feels like there's more reason to go up and kind of rebalance and mean revert to the upside than there is, hey, this was a dead cat bounce. We actually have a reason to be concerned. Let's send it lower. That's at least how I view it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, Bitcoin doesn't look bad, right? I keep getting into that. So.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, pretty much in the same camp as you, Max. Just somewhat, we'll say, locally cautious. Locally cautious. High time frame. Still think we're going up a lot, but just wanted to put these all next to each other. Yeah, Bitcoin definitely looks the best, and it's really not even close. Like, both ETH and Sol broke structure pretty badly. Sol hasn't even gotten up to, where was this wick? Jeez. Yeah, definitely a lot of headline risk today, though. That's for sure. So, I mean, what do you guys want to look at? We can look at like Dixie in the 10-year, but
Fun.
So much fun.
I think a lot will determine whether or not the lows are in crypto are, what are equity markets going to do from here? Because we are seeing volatility kind of get crushed in response to, I forgot who said it here, but obviously some of the fears that have created the move for crypto are kind of being dispelled, at least from the trade war standpoint. But equities just can't break that 6,100 level. And I can't really say that I'm expecting volatility to drop significantly lower. So it's, as we've been saying, volatilities are in this push-pull relationship with volatility right now. And it's either going to resolve with market up, volatility up, or market down, volatility up. And I think some of that will have to do with, obviously, what is the new Secretary of Treasury going to do? What is the Fed going to do at the March meeting? I guess we'll see what that means for markets. But I think 6,100 is a pretty firm cap for equities, at least for right now. So it makes me kind of feel like maybe crypto is leading potentially the move that equities could be putting in here over the next week or so, 2 weeks. I'm not sure about that, right? But I think if you don't see anything volatility related from equity markets, then crypto will probably just do its own thing, carve out a range, and eventually recover. You would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see the case that you're making for potentially another little one of these. And not that it would blow out, but
I think futures look a lot better than the VIX.
What is it, VIX 1?
VX.
Just VX?
Yeah. They look a lot more compressed when I look at the futures.
Is this a contango chart?
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
I can't tell. I really don't know if I think that is coiling for a big move, like a big breakdown, or if it's coiling for another spike up. But I don't, the context for a breakdown on vol would mean that 6,100 on the S&P, for example, is going to give. And we've been spat out of that level so far 2 or 3 times. So I'm very interested to see how that dynamic kind of plays out here over the next 2 weeks.
Definitely getting some compression, though, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that can extend out quite a bit, man. We sometimes will, I mean, we'll see how things shape up, but I mean, you can see that thing floored hypothetically for another 60 days before you get a pop. Hard to know, right? Hard to know. But can you pull up the S&P, Tucker? Let's just take a look at it. I don't think that looks bad, bro. I really feel like that's kind of basing out. And I keep talking to our Discord about this. Could you zoom out a little, go to like the 12-hour or something like that? Pull it up a bit. So stay zoomed out, but just show me like, yeah. So see like the low of October of 2023.
This one? No.
2023, October.
This one?
Yeah, that yeah, right there. Draw me a trend line from right there across the lows. Like right there. Right there. Yeah. I simply cannot get bearish SPX until I see us floating underneath that line. I will not do it. I can't do it. Simply impossible. And you can go back and you can do like a really simple study looking at like every kind of cyclical bull market that we've had. And we always form just like the stairway to heaven pattern for equities. That's what it is it's like it just grinds up and then it has a shakeout, but it doesn't lose its high time frame trend. And then it grinds up and then it shakes out and it just keeps going and going and going and going. And it ultimately takes like, 3-4 months to actually like begin to drop even once it loses the trend, right? Usually see a huge complacency shoulder. We'll call it the banker bounce, okay? Where all the bankers get to manipulate it up and then sell before it really drops. So I'm like, there's no reason to be bearish equities here from a technical standpoint.
Yeah, no, I don't think there is either. As long as it's above like 6K, because like I think the trend is like not shifted, but I mean, you've gone from doing like this, like going up like that, to now you're kind of going sideways, right?
But dude, within that structure, you could have drawn ranges as well. Like the right there, like you could have easily drawn that as a range.
Like this little thing, like this little. Come on now, that.
Yeah, like within these stairway to heaven patterns, like you can find areas that kind of look like a top, and then they just continue grinding higher, right? Which is why I always urge caution, like for equity bears. I'm like, you really want to try to short like the greatest Ponzi of all time. Like the only thing that's keeping us from like complete imminent, like US implosion is making sure that this thing just keeps going up forever and everybody's interests are aligned. Every billionaire, every politician, everybody is perfectly aligned that this thing must keep going up at all costs. And you really want to bet against that. Like, how dire things actually have to get for the S&P to truly pull back and go against every living, breathing, powerful person's interests all at once? You know how much time it takes for them just to get positioned for like a hedge with their size? It takes so much time, bro. So I'm like, I just can't get bearish the S&P here. Not until I see a banker bounce. And we're not even close to that right now.
You'd have to like do this and then this.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be months. If this is really the top, you're gonna see a huge drop, then you're gonna see it roll over like that. And you'll see, and here's the thing, within Trump's regime, I don't think that he's going to allow an extended drop.
No, I don't either.
So it's like you might see the breakdown and then you'll literally just see them be like, we're buying assets. Trump says rates are 0. It is what it is. He might not even allow for the market to play out the way that it organically should, which is a ticking time bomb. Do you really think that man's about to allow, CNBC to talk about how there's another red day in the market? No. Like, he's got an ego the size of Texas. Like he needs the market up. I don't know. I think it's a silly betting against the S&P 500 here. Wait until you see some sort of shifted trend. There's nothing right now.
There's not a shifted trend at all, but there is an NVIDIA.
Yeah,
so I will highlight that. I think NVIDIA can continue to come down into that $90 to $100 level here over the next few weeks.
I would agree with you.
90.
We talked about this a while ago too, though. Like, NVIDIA has been leading this market for a long time, but it doesn't have to remain the juggernaut, right? It could be a new blue chip company. It could be a Tesla. It could be anything, right? it is a huge component, but it doesn't need to be the only thing that matters anymore.
No, I agree. It doesn't have to. Now there is something to be said though. If we want QE, then I think you want these things to drop a little bit, right?
I think the put, you know, not like the short side put, but like the put for the market that will support it would come in on like a 10 to 15% decline if we were to get it.
I would want that, dude. That would be worth it for crypto, man. That would absolutely be worth it, you know.
I'm going to continue to say I think the S&P over the last like 10 years looks like Bitcoin in 2017 to 2018.
All right, never mind. Actually, I don't know about that. That would...
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, everybody's so focused on QE. I don't think we need QE. I think we need like to stop QT, right? And we might not even need that because it's slowing, right? But like, look at Tucker. Type in USCBBS. I think is the ticker below.
I know, I'm gonna put it below. Yeah.
USCBBS. I'm pretty sure is the Fed balance sheet. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
And I would just like to point out, we talked about this. There you go. In 2017, in the 2017 cycle, we did not have QE at all. We didn't have QE. The Fed was not buying assets. But because last cycle, and it might be that way again this cycle, but because last cycle was a purely QE and ZERP-induced liquidity bubble, everybody thinks that the only way that crypto can go up is now by money printing and the Fed, you know, expanding its balance sheet and lowering interest rates. And look at what Bitcoin did during QT right here. Right? Like, assets have moved up. We also had Pepe and select altcoins rip 10x's, 20x's during QT. And the prime example is in 2017, 2018, or 2016 through 2018 cycle, we didn't have a tremendous amount of QE and, you know, zero interest rates. I know what it would do for the market. I'm just saying it's not impossible. We have one perfect instance of QE causing a bubble for crypto, and we have another perfect example of it not mattering at all. So, just saying.
What if we were to combine the tailwinds that crypto is currently experiencing with 2020, 2021 style QE? I think for me, that would be kind of the perfect storm. Something I've been kind of like wondering, you know, will they manufacture some sort of crash in equities? You know, not a big one, but just like a small one that's just enough for them to turn the printer on for risk assets? Or are they really going to let markets? Because I think if the Fed does nothing, right? If Trump does nothing, if the Fed does nothing, by the time they take action, it might be too late. You know, in 3 or 4 months from now, equity markets could be in an inevitable sustained downtrend. And I don't really suspect that that will be the case under the Trump presidency, because I kind of think that's something, I don't know. I mean, it's just like a weird feeling. We're already seeing the volatility with crypto. Do we get it with equities? I guess that's TBD. But I do think that there is there's no precedent necessarily, but I do think there is a case to be made that that could be where we're headed, especially as equities are kind of like roofing up here near 6,000, 6,100 with equity, or with NVIDIA rather. It's going to continue to put downside pressure on the S&P and the NASDAQ, at least in the near term. I think whenever that's done, it makes sense for equities to probably at least try to move up again. But maybe they need, like you said, Max, the ending of QT as well as the resumption of QE to really be able to break out above those prices.
I mean, dude, we just need to do this. Like, we just need to stop QT. This needs to stop going down. Like, I agree. I don't think this needs to go up in a straight line like it did after COVID, but you know, even during 2017, this thing was going sideways the whole time, like sideways to slightly lower. And then when it did start dropping, that was the top, right? So it is impressive that we've been able to do what we've done so far this year and go up while this has gone down, but we need this thing to go sideways. Right? I think we need this to stop dropping.
I think can we go over the Bitcoin 2017 2018 price action for the S&P again? It's been a long time since we discussed it on Market Check.
Where?
We got it for one. We can't be on log for the S&P. I think it.
Oh shoot!
Sorry, no loggles.
What were you asking for?
Do we want to put the Bitcoin price action from 2017 to 2018 on the S&P?
Oh,
the reason I like that price action is because I feel like it is very representative of bubble style price action, right? Like few consolidations along the way, lots of volatility, inevitably into a blow off top. This is my tinfoil hat theory, at least.
All right, here we go. Non-log, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, where are you taking it from?
Well, we probably got to zoom out on the S&P.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I think that basically the 2022 top would be that that correction Bitcoin had. Yeah, right there. So that would be the equivalent of like the 2022 top. That's the case. I don't know. We are reaching, I think, peak velocity as far as the way that we're kind of printing money right now. Do we see that translated into markets, or do we see that translated through potentially prolonged range and then inflation? I think I'm going to side with the the side that they're going to probably keep printing money to inflate markets.
I think we're going to see just rinse and repeat of 2020 through 2022. I think it's going to be issue, print, inflation, bubble, Fed cycle, rinse, 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 repeat, repeat, repeat. And then eventually we all die. So
hopefully we all made it though, if that happens.
We'll giga make it first. We'll giga make it. It's not going to be fun to watch the aftermath, but we'll giga make it.
If this is going to play out to the same degree, then yeah, we probably have some sort of a downside move loading on equity, some sort of headline that's TBD that will lead them to stimulate the market. At least that's my theory, right?
So that was...
I mean, that'd be sweet, man. I'd love to see the David Hunter play out. That would be so entertaining. Like, how often do you get to live and actively be in markets during like 100-year cyclical blow off? Once in a lifetime.
Literally.
And ETH would probably still be under 4K.
I think if this were to happen, I actually have a theory that's, I mean, what really will kickstart the bull market for crypto will be people have, whether it's justified or not, declining confidence in fiat. So they're going to feel more and more encouraged to probably experiment with some decentralized storages of value, some money outside of the system. Really, the biggest catalyst or the biggest fundamental utility for crypto is that it is money outside of the system. So again, and I think that was a big driver of the 2021 bull market. I know we had QE, but the prevailing narrative was ultimately a decline of confidence in fiat money holding its value. And that was obviously, as we've seen in hindsight, that fear was very overblown. But I think over time, more and more people are beginning to have these fears. And inevitably, that will probably be favorable for crypto assets, especially ones that are inherently scarce and do not have supply that is inflating like fiat. So
yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. What do we think about this David Sachs crypto call thing at 2:30 EST? So what do we have? Like 3 hours roughly?
Yeah, I don't see how he's not going to try to be bullish. I don't know what he's going to announce, but I feel like he's got to try to. I feel like he's not going to come out and say something bearish.
I have
So
no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
here's my hope for it, right? One, I kind of feel like it's going to be more of an announcement of an announcement. Like, hey, we're planning to invest in like something. Maybe it's crypto specific. I feel like it's going to be another one of these events that it's just used to like generate a move. And the move is already kind of predetermined and baked in, right? It's like FOMC. It's like you could get a hawkish Powell and you could move up off of it just because it's a liquidity game. So I feel like the charts are so beaten down right now from what happened on the weekend. I think any mention of crypto could cause us to run the highs again. Just it's like an FOMC style thing where it's like it doesn't matter what he says, there's going to be a stop run somewhere. And I kind of don't think he's going to really say shit. But then there's also that side of me that's like, you had Eric Trump literally, he gave financial advice yesterday. Like the president's son was like, good time to buy ETH. Thank me later. I'm like, what kind of world are we living in? There's no way that that was a real tweet. Like the president's son was just like, buy ETH. And World Liberty Fi is shoving Ethereum. That's crazy. And they were filling their bags earlier. Eric Trump, he kind of filled and shilled. Like he did it. So I'm like, maybe there is some crazy announcement that like there's going to be some like AI and Ethereum and Bitcoin like, fund that they form, and maybe we just rip off of that. I don't know, but my gut's telling me it's going to just cause some like, liquidation event to the upside, and then we'll probably retrace and get that wick filled to the downside. And I don't know. Just know that if something crazy happens at 2:30 EST, the crypto czar is speaking.
Watch your stops, I guess.
Dude, how cool would it be to have the official title, the czar, the crypto czar? It's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool. Hopefully somebody calls me a czar someday.
Yeah. You're my button czar, Tommy.
On the button.
You.
Yeah. If you understand what that means.
We do have a super chat. Shout out to you, Chris Jones. I feel like that's a little bit thematic this week. For I'll let you answer this one first, then, Tucker.
That's my man right there, bro. Chris Jones. We're gonna have a hard time paying you next year, Chris. I'm sorry. If we dump again, what do you think the impact would be, considering Eric Trump's tweet if retail believes the family is rugging them? I don't think they're gonna read too much into it. Like, I mean, everybody's already put his tweet on the chart, and it's like the Pico top, right? So, I don't know. I don't think people are gonna be mad at the Trumps if we go lower. I think they'd be mad. I mean, they're already mad, right? Like them dropping Melania coin was not. They screwed up, man. Like those memes, right? If Melania never dropped, but I think in general, crypto and retail is gonna enjoy Trump presidency, right? Because they should, and Jackus has said this for a long time, they should provide regulatory clarity, which is what our industry has needed for a long, long time. So I don't think they're going to care too much. I mean, Eric Trump is already getting clowned for the tweet, so I don't think it can get much worse for him right now. But
it might just blow back onto Eric Trump, I think. But
yeah,
I think in general, the fact that Trump himself is, I mean, if we're talking about like who is retail and how we're discussing it, right? Are we talking about like young people who objectively, like, no offense, but I know most young people in my age bracket don't have a ton of disposable income. Then you have boomers who probably were very afraid of crypto before you had headlines like, oh, well, Trump is pro crypto president. He's launching his own meme coin. Who is the retail that we're talking about losing faith? Because I think at least the younger population isn't going to lose faith. I think they already are kind of a little bit skeptical in how they view crypto inherently. But boomers could probably believe in the tech. I don't think that anything Eric Trump says will really derail that necessarily, but yeah, obviously, if you show crypto and then it dumps like 50 to 60%, everybody who just entered is probably not going to be that happy. Probably some people who bought altcoins a week or two ago, not feeling the best right now after the dump that we had. But I don't really think that it is that big of a deal, right? If the announcement doesn't really manifest into anything, if it is just kind of Eric Trump jawboning, I don't really think it's going to have too big of an impact on how people really view the administration's approach to crypto.
You know what kind of bums me out about it is that I feel like at any other time in crypto history, if somebody like Eric Trump said buy ETH, thank me later, we would immediately rip like 50% in like a week.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what the hell kind of world are we living in where like even a guy like that can't influence shit anymore? Is our market that cooked, or is this the biggest beach ball underwater that we've ever seen?
I'm going to say it. We need more crime, but from the right people. Right now, crime in crypto is just LA Vape cabal and that annoying contingency of streamers extracting value from Solana gamblers. We need 3AC, Grayscale, FTX. As I always say, retail did not create the pumps that we had last cycle. They didn't. It was hedge funds, institutions that acted like retail that ultimately created the mania that we saw in altcoins. So I would say we need more liquidity, which is usually a precursor to crime.
All right. So who's the crime boss of this cycle, Tommy? Has he shown himself yet? Is it Justin Sun?
I don't think it'll be Justin Sun. I mean, we haven't heard from DWF in a while. Maybe they're plotting something under the table. It seems like it could be Wintermute, but I think they're a little bit too like Wintermute won't put themselves in a position to get 3AC or FTX. It's probably going to be someone else.
So who is it, bro?
We might not know.
Dude,
we might not know.
I need to know, man.
What if it's Sam again?
They pardoned him. Oh my god.
Who's gonna buy my AVAX shit coins?
It's gonna be somebody. It's gonna be somebody, but it's anybody's guess who that's going to be. I think if most people knew SBF in 2018 and 2019, never would have assumed that he would have been the one to rug FTX. But they usually kind of start as very rich OGs that work their way into generational wealth status. I guess we'll see.
Well, so I guess we're stuck with the Trump family trying to pump the market, but they can't even do it with Donald being the president. Maybe they could actually just start buying instead of just shilling, and then that would send the price up. Like, how about we have a strategic Bitcoin reserve, and the U.S. is going to buy 2% of the Bitcoin supply over 5 years? That would send us higher.
It would.
But to be fair, they're buying a bunch of ETH, and it's not doing anything. So,
yeah, unfortunately, ETH not doing a lot. I mean, dude, if they come out and they announce an SBR today, we're gonna rip. Probably, we're gonna rip.
Hype to $200.
Is it going to be one of those announcements though, where they're like, "Yeah, we're probably going to make a Bitcoin strategic reserve over the next few years," or is it like, "Okay, explicitly, we're going to be buying this much Bitcoin"?
But they did the announcement of the announcement already, right? They said they signed an executive order to stockpile. So
they did that
already happened.
And here's what we know about Trump: is this man is moving at a record-setting pace. I can't believe how fast the tariff thing escalated. I don't think they're wasting any time. Honestly, I don't think they're wasting any time. If there was ever a perfect time to send crypto, they filled their bags, and Eric Trump basically gave financial advice yesterday. Why would he tweet that? Like, he's not a stupid guy. I don't know him. He doesn't seem like he's, a stupid guy. Why would he tweet that out? I mean, this meeting was planned. We just nuked. They just bought another $200 million of ETH. Eric Trump tweets out to buy ETH. The crypto czar is speaking this afternoon. Am I supposed to believe that it's another nothing burger? Like how many signs can we get without anything actually manifesting at this point? Can we just keep getting amazing news and like cryptic tweets and on-chain flows that suggest things are really good, and then we just keep dumping no matter what? I mean, eventually things have to give, right? Eventually, once in a while, it's got to work out in the good guy's favor. What did he mean by that tweet?
He might just have
24 hours
very
before the
fat
crypto
bags.
czar speaks.
He might just have very fat bags of ETH.
Well, we know that.
Who, Sachs?
No, I mean Eric
Oh,
Trump.
yeah, Eric Trump, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get some volatility today, that's for sure.
Turns out the real bull market was in shorting ETH this whole time. There's always an inverse bull market somewhere.
The bull market on shorting ETH is probably coming to an end fairly soon.
Tommy.
I'm just saying, I think most of the downside on ETH is going to be it should be done within a few weeks. Probably all of it, realistically speaking. But I am in, I guess, the small camp that thinks we're going to fully retrace the wick, probably trade a little bit lower. But I do think that people shouldn't be ruling out that possibility. But when that happens, I think like shorting ETH for me is going to be off the table.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tommy, if you say shorting ETH is off the table, then what about inverse shorting ETH? Is that on the table?
Maybe.
So we're either going to range between 3K and 2,500 for the next 10 years, or we're going to move up.
I mean, we'll move up. I just I think the timeline is going to be dependent on a lot of things, obviously. But I think another leg down on ETH, and like the short trade for me at that point is over, because I don't think that ETH is entering a prolonged bear market here. I don't think that we've had the cycle top here. Could this be like a mid-cycle correction like we've kind of discussed in the past? I think that would be the most optimistic view. And I think it really checks out with beta as well. Like, it's not just ETH having a mid-cycle correction. It's the entire altcoin market. It's all of beta. A lot of these altcoins have completely reset their market cycles. And I do think that will ultimately be a positive thing. But in the meantime, obviously, you know, the volatility on some of these alts is just, it's insane.
Yeah.
No, I think we're gonna get a little higher low for ETH, and that'll be the punt spot. But we'll see. It is like an FOMC today, honestly. We have literally, and it's honestly worse because we have nothing to go on, like no idea what's gonna happen. So yeah, we'll see.
I wonder if they dump it into it and then use it to squeeze.
I mean, here's like the ETH thing that I was looking at. I was like, okay, it's either gonna be, we're either this, right? This whole structure, we're either here or we're here, right? And I mean, it looks like we just did this, right? This pretty much V recovered and then got sold again. So, and it V recovered all the way back up to here, which would be 3,300 basically, right?
Dude,
which
we can't be there, bro. We can't be there.
Which would be a crazy move. No, I don't think we are. I don't think we're gonna like do this leg, but like just in terms of like a recovery, right? And even lower time frame. Where is it? Like, this is the only worry, is like you're here, you know, and you're gonna like not even double bottom. Like, I think it would be more like,
Yeah,
you know, there, but like, and then go back up type of thing.
yeah.
But either way,
I still think there's so many signs pointing towards ETH just in Bitcoin's echo bubble. Like, to me, it's so similar. So even if we go lower, I think eventually you're going to start carving sideways for probably a decent chunk of 2025, and then probably towards the end of the year. I know that's a long time, but I think that's when we start to see ETH really outperform.
Towards the end of the year?
Of course, we could recover, and the theory could be, incorrect. But I think after the wipeout that we just had, given the similarities between ETH and Bitcoin's echo bubble, and let's be honest, like this is a space that very much respects, I think, kind of, at least on like the top 2 or 3 assets, they really kind of respect previous cycle history. So something like ETH, it makes sense to me that it would respect what Bitcoin did in the last cycle. If that's the case, then yeah, I mean, I think eventually that's going to lead ETH to trading at probably like 20K. But for now,
hold on. Where do you think?
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I said it.
Brother, I would sign the dotted line for
20K
5K at this point.
You think ETH is in? Oh, that's right. I know what you're talking about. You think ETH is in here somewhere?
Yeah,
dude, ETH just did the COVID drop, literally.
Not quite.
No, it did. I have the fractal for it. It was a perfect COVID drop, brother.
Mommy thinks we're here, man.
No, I don't think we're there.
No.
God forbid we're there. That would be awful. But, God, can you imagine if we were?
Well, it's different though. Like look at like.
Let me.
Hold on.
I can't take this this blasphemy. Okay.
No, hold on. This.
You better hurry because I'm about to Tommy it once I get the chart up. Disrespectfully, of course.
Not a terrible comp, Jesus. But I'm not really. I don't know if I'm really like expecting it to go that deep. But damn, I'm just saying they look very similar. Even when you look at, like you said, Tucker, that squeeze that we had, I think it was in July, as well as the ETF candle. You look at the Bitcoin echo bubble, the G candle. Like we have a lot of similarities between these. I think these cyclical patterns that are worth paying attention to.
Yeah, but
we wicked
all the way down there.
How could you tell me that this is not?
It will look a little different.
It looks the same, bro. It literally looks the exact same. I put it over it. It's the exact same thing. We just had an extended shoulder. Even like I didn't even manipulate this. Like it went down to the same spot on the fractal. This is in linear mode too.
You know, it takes a lot to get Max to be in linear, so
it does, bro. I'm passionate about log mode.
We don't have to. I mean, again, we don't have to have another leg down. It's my lean right now. We don't have to, but I would favor sideways more than I think a V recovery for the next few weeks.
Okay, what if we do this? Have we talked about this example? Maybe. Sorry, my computer is so slow right now. I don't know what's going on. Okay. As a busy object tree. Come on. There we go. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties today. This is an example that I think is worth considering for ETH. Is like this thing. Like this move. Something like this.
I could see that.
And here, we can even look at it on the Bybit chart where it had a more comparable wick.
Sideways would be very bullish. Right? It's one of those things where sideways and up, bullish. The only thing that would be bearish would be continuation. We've kind of used that phrase a few times on this show.
That actually does look kind of good.
I mean, we even took out the high as well, like this thing.
I like that comparison.
We didn't fill the wick completely, but,
it closed a lot lower. I mean, I guess you're on the 5-day. That closes today, though. Jeez.
Well, I mean, I'm changing the time frames because the ETH one took a lot longer, right?
Yeah.
but let me put this on like the daily because it's clearly different time frames. But I don't mind something like, I mean, we even had the same like this pattern over here before the floor gave out. You know, like this is pretty damn good right here. Could I interest some gentlemen in this?
Yeah, I could be interested in that.
Tucker, would you like to purchase this off the menu?
I like that a lot. Yeah.
So like we're basically, you know, like this. It'd be fun. Fun way to spend our time until June.
Oh God, until
Nah,
June,
bro. It's gonna be quicker than that. It's gonna be quicker.
God, if we go sideways until June, I would be miserable.
Miserable.
I'm enjoying this volatility that we've had, locally speaking. There's been so much opportunity. Like, even if, as long as you survived the last week, you didn't have to catch every move. If you caught one in the last week, like with conviction, you're up a lot right now, because there have been 4 or 5 trending moves over the last week that have been aggressive, right? Like altcoins giving 20 to 30% moves in both directions twice in 1 week. So, I mean, again, there's been a lot of opportunity to trade. We know what happens after this is over, though. Once that vol kind of settles down, it's just like the death of volatility, and it's awful. But that's usually, the death of volatility is usually what you see before a very aggressive bullish trend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be miserable when volatility dies out.
Max, you gotta fit it so it happens in February, bro.
Not a problem, bro.
Not a problem.
Consider it done.
It's a non-issue.
Here.
Yeah, squeeze. You really gotta squeeze it down.
Really smush it in there. There you go.
All right, so March 11th, we're at 6K. Sounds good. Fine with me.
Well, here, I mean, I will say this. Like, if you clear, like, this region, you are going to fucking teleport. It's this spot on ETH. Like, if you get back above 3,300, it's going to look really good really quick. So, however long it takes to get there, that's what you need to be looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, but what that implies is like 2,200 again, 2,300 again. Unfortunately,
You'll be all right. I might not be. You'll be all right.
I'm not going to be all right either.
I got to chuckle out of this one.
Develop. Brother, we're here suffering from it already.
I trade internet coins for a living. I'm clinically depressed. No, not really. I'm actually a very happy person, but I am definitely sad when volatility dies. I've actually had so much fun trading this this local price action because I've been patient. I think if you call yourself a scalper and then like a week like this goes by and you're trying to catch every single move, you're probably chopping your account up and you hate the market. But if you're patient, if you wait for the right opportunities, like this market has been a dream to trade, in my opinion. So I love it. I know what comes after. It's probably not more volatility. It's probably sideways price action, whether we recover and just kind of grind up, or whether we drop again and then just kind of either recover or go sideways. There will probably be a death of volatility right after this. So if you're entertained, at least, just enjoy it. If you're a trader, take advantage. Don't be an idiot. And yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there to make money.
Yeah, I just need this to happen. So I'll be very, very sad until it happens. I think this will happen.
Need it to happen.
I could see us. We'll form a range down here. Like, we're not going to V recover it. That's not real. But you should hold here, honestly.
Has to be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, if you don't hold that, then Tommy's fun targets come into play.
No, I can't. I can't do that.
No, I can't either.
If it plays out, I don't know, but I do know how it ends, and I think that's more so what I'm potentially excited about. Because if it does play out for me, like I know we're probably in extended cycle. We're all about to make it in a few years, but not right now. But we will all giga make it if that's the case. So
No, I won't get liquidated. I don't have any margin on the board, brother. Emotionally, I might get liquidated. I think the selling may go away happens if you get this, because this would be like, we carve out a small local range here for, February. And then by March, we start cooking. And this is like end of March-ish. I think if you saw ETH above 3K, or sorry, above 5 or 6K in March, then, I mean, yeah, there's probably a pretty good reason to sell and may go away. And that would imply that this was just like one giant monster bear trap at a horrible time for most people. So I still think there's a really good chance that we're actually right on track this cycle, and we don't need some crazy shift in QE in order to bubble us. But I'm open to the idea, but I don't think we 100% need that. I still think that if Bitcoin can break out here, 110, 115, I think you could see a huge mean reversion move out of something like ETH. Huge.
We're getting a little pop right now.
Squeeze him.
I cannot be squeezed.
I'm cross margin with my entire net worth, brother. They can't get me.
They won't get me.
I think the risk reward of shorting here is definitely a lot lower. So if you are like swinging for the fences for another low, maybe you get it, but also you are being a little greedy.
Yeah.
Not to say you can't play downsides. You just have to be like cautious of that when you're managing risk. Especially in this market, man, this is a headline risk market. It's kind of like insanely difficult to position directionally. Futures are very treacherous.
They just minted $1 billion. Tether did on Tron, though.
That's good crime.
What's TRX doing?
His Excellency is at work again.
What's His Excellency up to today?
He's back to work.
I did notice Tron stayed very strong through the dome. Of course. Nobody to sell but Justin Sun. Bullish supply control.
They're trying to pop ETH here.
I think they can run it to 3K before retesting a little bit lower, guys. I really do.
I will not rule anything out with Major's price action because they just love these big liquidity sweeps in both ways.
Did we get news? It feels like we got news.
Eric Trump tweeted again. Sell your ETH. Good time to sell. Thank me later. You know what's so funny is he would tweet that and we would nuke. But if he tweets something bullish, nothing happens.
That's a problem.
News only works one way in crypto.
Well, I love how he edited that tweet so that the thank me later part was removed.
I know, like,
Yeah.
dude. Oh, no one's gonna remember or see the original version, Eric.
How about this one, guys? We can probably kind of finish up the show talking about this one. Any thoughts on Barrett Chain?
Parachain?
Yeah, they're launching, I think, finally, after like 6 years.
You know who else is launching this week?
Who?
Nillion.
Hey.
Hey. Study Nillion. Parachain? No, I don't have any thoughts. I mean,
It's like 6 years in the making. They're kind of like the I mean, I'm not going to say anything positive, so I think I just won't say anything. I won't say anything.
You're just about to light them up, bro. You're like, the golden rule.
I have a list of things that I could say, but I'm not going to. It's about time that they're launching, though. I'm just going to say that. And they probably were a little bit worried they missed another bull market top. So they're like, yeah, I'm going to launch now.
Did you just say the top is in, Tommy?
No, it's definitely not. But they might be afraid that it is because they were building Barrett Chain before the last bull market. They didn't launch it. They spent the entire bear market saying,
really? I didn't know that.
Conditions to launch the chain. It's like, what are you waiting for? Bitcoin's over 100K.
I know a lot of people have been farming,
just say it.
they've been farming Parachain for years, I'm pretty sure. A lot of people have.
Yeah. I can't believe how expensive the NFTs are. I feel like that's definitely artificially inflated because there's no way a bong bear could be worth like, I think it's almost mid 6 figures, might be more than that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense.
Oh, Trump was supposed to talk to President Xi today, and they canceled it just now.
Oh my God.
Volatility incoming, brother.
Everybody on 50 to 100x is gonna have like PTSD from this market.
Dude, everything Trump does is a volatility event, bro. Oh my God.
Can't take it anymore. Come on.
The constant dumping, the manipulation. I'm completely out of the cryptocurrency market.
What outlet is fast for news, guys?
BB.
I was about to say, that's what I was hoping you would say.
Valentin is on the buttons.
On the buttons, bro. Yeah.
Tariff ping pong incoming. Yeah, exactly. It's like the market doesn't even know what to make of all the news. You can tell it in the price action. I'm almost wondering if like that in itself is not necessarily bullish.
Yeah, I don't I know they're kind of selling it. Literally,
it'll work.
Trump alters his schedule by one phone call in the market. Fucking nukes.
I hate this market, bro.
I think everybody kind of hates this market right now.
Yeah.
This to me still looks like it's in complacency, man. I know it's been strong. I know nobody wants to believe that's the case, but I'm going to get filled on this. No homo.
Imagine letting another man fill you, Tommy.
This is coming down to $12, whether the bulls like it or not.
Oh, your box is way too high, Max. You got to drop that box a little bit lower.
This is a proper box, brother. This is your supply right here.
Then your time frame is far too high.
What time frame you want?
1 hour.
1 hour? Dude,
Yeah.
you're in full mode.
Now draw a box.
I'm getting Tucker back on the lower time frames, Max. It's over.
Oh, the micro, what did we call it?
Micro scalping? Micro
Yeah.
structures?
Microstructure scalping. That's it.
All right.
It used to be fun before the boomers took over Bitcoin and ETH, and now it's just like you can't do it.
There's the box. That's the correct box, Max.
Yeah, you shouldn't get above these highs, brother. This should be it.
Exactly.
Like maybe sweep this wick. Could see that. Study the ICT boys. Equal into supply. and then look for something like this. Should I hammer it?
I mean, you're hammering the strongest coin in the market, so you
But
can
you're
do
doing it, aren't you?
this is the optimal place to be doing it. I do think it's going to go. I definitely think this is going down, but the strength, I will not lie, has been very, very strong. And I think you can continue to take signal from this chart, right? If we break above those highs beyond just the sweep, then you know the market's probably going to be recover.
I mean, this could be a weird looking accumulation. Not to like be that guy and fud your guys' thesis, but
yeah,
it's like this looks more like the shoulder to me right here, you know? Like this looked like the shoulder.
Well,
The
see, look at
breakdown.
that, but now put it on like the daily or the 12-hour, and you're gonna see the same thing. You know, I mean, it doesn't look terrible, right? Like it just has to be. I like it because it's easy invalidation right here, but yeah, if you get above there, it's gonna fly. But
I think a huge reason this didn't dump is because of the staking lockup, 7 days.
So we're gonna have to wait till Sunday, Tommy.
I mean, no, I'm just curious when people probably started unstaking, maybe 4 or 5 days ago.
Probably on Sunday, bro. They were panic unstaking.
I would say give it a few days and we'll see where this chart is.
Do you guys think Trump never intended to implement tariffs, but instead used them as bargaining chips? I mean, yeah.
Probably both.
Yeah, I would say both. I think he wants to implement them to some degree, but probably not to the extent that he lets on, you know.
I think he was prepared to do it, but I don't think he necessarily needed to.
Yeah.
Gets everybody's attention, forces you to the negotiating table pretty quickly. I think for that purpose, it's been pretty effective.
Yeah.
I know you like it, Max.
Hopefully complex distribution.
Complex distribution, you wouldn't get it.
I mean, I see maybe one more squeeze to like 27 and change, and then it should die. If it's going to die, it's going to be from right here.
There are much weaker coins, though, right? For example, a Rune. We're going to bring that one back to market check for the first time in like a week because we didn't talk about it over the last few days, I don't think, but it did drop like 50% over the weekend. It bounced 50% too, but I think Rune is ready to leg down again, and maybe this is the leg that gives out, right?
Probably is. I mean, why not?
There's nothing that can save Rune. I mean that in the least humorous way possible. There is no saving Rune because assuming their revenue is unchanged and their revenue is rapidly declining, as well as the price of the token. So their two abilities to pay back debt holders are rapidly declining. Assuming that nothing had changed at like $2.20, they would be able to pay back all the debt holders in 20 years.
20
now, yeah, now double it. Rune's cooked, man. What happens when the people that are still holding Rune, debt and Rune LPs realize, okay, well, we're not getting out of this shit until 40 years. They're going to dump. It's probably going to send the token to zero.
Should we look at it?
Pull it up.
I kind of feel like it's almost leading the market a little bit, to be honest. Maybe by like 16 hours, 12 to 16 hours. Because it did dump before everything else over the weekend. And then it was kind of flat while everything else had the huge nuke. It retested the low on the big dump. So if it's getting ready to potentially leg down again, for one, you know, you did get the squeeze on Rune above that previous high. Do we see the same thing for ETH? I guess that's TBD. But there is a case to be made that Rune could be kind of ahead of the altcoin market by about a day.
I mean, this trend is... I mean, bro, it's... Yeah, man, this thing is cooked. I mean, look at the trend here with the colors. Like, just every time it gets a little, like, they try to bounce it. They just short the crap out of it. That's been working. Look at where you're at.
I would say, given the situation, the selling has still been fairly orderly. Still, I don't think that'll be the case on this next leg.
Do you think the next one is the dagger?
Yeah, I do.
Dude.
And if majors are going to V-recover and bounce to new highs, this is just going to end up putting in another high time frame shoulder. And I think if it does, like, that's basically a free short to zero. But either way, the path is TBD. The destination's kind of already determined.
So, should we check in on our fractal that we made?
You should. That's crazy.
Ooh. It just seems like there's not nearly as much selling as I would have expected yet.
It's not quite. So the way it works is the reason it hasn't quite, like, literally gone to zero yet is because with Luna, you had infinite minting, and that led to infinite supply. Everybody, I mean, it was just constant selling pressure. This is one. There's a lot less volume, obviously a lot fewer holders on Rune than Luna. I think the market cap of Rune was probably like 1 or 2 billion. So it is fairly isolated, where Rune was just like completely systemic, or not Rune, but Luna was completely systemic. And so when they need to pay back debt holders or LPs, they mint Rune, but it's capped. So what happens when it hits cap? How do you pay off debt holders when your token supply is capped and you can't mint any more to sell? You have to sell what already exists, which is going to send the token price straight
to zero.
Shout out to I don't know how to pronounce them, like Gallo, however you say Galloid Capital. They're killers, man. That dude is amazing. It really took people a lot longer than it should have to pick up on the alpha that Rune was effectively in a death spiral. Like, CT didn't catch on until 75% lower from where he started talking about it.
I mean, so we're like right here. So like you could assume that this is
your
mega demand.
Oh,
you owe me 10 cents.
Hold on, let me buy one Rune token when it's worth 10 cents.
We'll take payment in Rune. So Tommy, do you really think this is it right here?
If history is going to repeat, yeah.
Well, it doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. Zoom in a little bit. Dude, this is crazy. What a crazy chart. Okay.
At some point, it's going to be like that scene from The Dark Knight Rises, where Bane is on the plane. He's like, and everybody's going to be short, but Bane is going to say, "Look, they expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. That will be me. It will not be me in the wreckage, because eventually when it does go, what happened with Luna was when it went so low, people didn't even have liquidity to close shorts into. So it was like, well, you won, but you're in the wreckage too now, bro.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, bro, if this is going to happen, then we're like, let me tighten this up. Like, looking at this straight up, man, it literally looks the same, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Like that would mean we're like right somewhere around like $50 Luna right now. It literally looks the same. Look at the fractal, man.
I know.
Everything about it is the same.
I've been laser focused on Rune for the last week and a half to 2 weeks.
Let me ask you a question about shorting this thing though, Tommy. Can you hypothetically take it down to zero, or do you have to try to get out before it's at zero if you were to short it?
I mean, you're betting on a pretty like abnormal event if you're literally trying to take it to zero, but also you have to understand the deeper that you take a short with something that is going to zero, people are going to stop buying. You're not going to have liquidity to be able to exit a short if you go too deep.
I mean, if you're on a centralized exchange, they don't have a choice, right?
Yes and no. I mean, market makers will stop quoting bids
Yeah.
until like way lower.
Yeah.
So it can be, you don't want to take it too deep. You don't want to be too greedy. But yes, hypothetically speaking, you could do it. I remember people were trading Luna on KuCoin with like probably a few $100s worth of margin, or at least I was trying to like get filled on some Luna shorts, knowing it was going to zero, and getting slipped like 30 to 40% on $400 or $500 orders because there was no liquidity. If volatility is that extreme, market makers are not gonna, they're not gonna step in. Because there's too much risk to buying inventory that's literally going to zero.
Okay. Something to continue to watch, because this fractal is spooky. I'm not going to lie. It literally looks the same to me. Identical. Steady, lads.
Somebody asked about the thoughts on their debt restructuring, and I think that there is no way multiple entities can get out without getting fucked. It's just kind of a matter of who is going to get wrecked the least. And I do think that when you take into account everybody's individual incentives, everybody is going to want to get out with the most amount of their capital possible, which is usually how these things end up.
What do you think about, are there any not extenuating, but are there any implications beyond solely Rune going to zero? Like,
I guess
is
we'll
this
find out.
because I was talking to Wabi and he was like, bro, it's the equivalent of Uniswap going to zero. And I was like, oh, not really, but kind of.
I guess we'll see, right? I think the biggest thing that you miss out if Thorchain, or that you lose if Thorchain goes to zero, is that it is kind of the only place where you can make cross-chain swaps with liquid size. So for that reason, maybe you have collateral on certain chains that get stranded, or just harder to bridge back.
I was gonna say, is that what like bridging protocols use?
They don't. I don't think they really use Thorchain to bridge. I just know it's one of the most liquid places that you can do cross-chain swaps.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to have like a broader impact on the market. Curve really didn't.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, DeFi is DeFi, all centralized around the same collateral.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I think it can go to zero fairly isolated, but yeah, it definitely does look like the fractal. We'll see if it plays out tit for tat.
Wow. All right. Well, Tommy, tell them how they can better their lives. Tell them all about it. And how they can get the Rune updates from you.
Yes, if you guys want more updates on Rune, maybe you wanted to catch the trade, maybe you missed or you feel like you missed the trade, well, because Bitcoin and the Discord have been all over the Rune trade for the last 2 weeks. Even if it does bottom here, you know, we pretty much caught a 50% downside candle over the weekend. I do think that it will probably continue lower. I will continue to give commentary in the Discord. And if you are interested in hearing that, or if you enjoyed anything else that you heard on Market Check today, make sure to join the family. Check out our premium Discord, guys. We provide alpha all day, our thoughts on the market as things happen, and ultimately 4 to 5 hours of voice calls every single day. Not an exaggeration. I would even say that sometimes we go over 4 or 5 hours because we really like to cook for our subscribers. So check out the Because Bitcoin Discord, your go-to source of alpha for this cycle. We were nice enough to bundle it together with our go-to tool for this cycle, guys. Come check out the BB terminal. Whether or not you are a lower time frame trader, derivatives, you've been really enjoying the volatility lately, this is your go-to tool for the cycle to be able to analyze that lower time frame data, open interest data, anything that you might need to be able to do so effectively. And of course, whether or not you're a long-term investor looking to make more educated investment decisions based on data-driven metrics and models, we've got the tool for you as well. And soon, whether you're an on-chain degen, you love meme coins, you love AI agents, whatever it is, the new meta of on-chain is at any given time, well, we will soon have the tool for you as well. We are building out our degen functionality right now. So check these two out right now. As we always say, as the prices of the market go up, so do the prices of our products. But if you guys are interested as well in honing your educational base or even reaching trading level mastery, come check out the BB Academy, guys. Come learn from the entire Because Bitcoin team and all of our diverse skill sets, how we trade, how we analyze, and ultimately how we approach markets. Maybe the downside volatility has been a little too intense, right? It's been a lot over the last 4 or 5 months. Maybe you've had a difficult time picking winners. Well, fortunately, we do have the solution for the team to manage money for you as well through BB Wealth Management. We have an SEC registered hedge fund that trades digital assets in a way that looks to capture their asymmetric history for upside returns while also balancing the downside risk posed in any financial markets. So make sure to check out, if you heard anything that just appealed to you in the last 2 minutes, check out the description below. Check out our products. But yeah, if you enjoyed Market Check today, we'll be back for another episode tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will see what if we get any announcements later today that we can potentially discuss, as well as everything that's currently going on in the charts and in the cryptocurrency, as well as equity markets. So if you enjoyed the show today, you'll be able to catch us back here again tomorrow. And lastly, but certainly not least, make sure to check out Wabi's space Market Talk. That is hosted Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday through his X account, as well as the BB X account. Linked in the description below, so make sure to check those out. But yeah, that's it from us, guys. We hope that you enjoyed the show. Like I said, we'll see what the rest of the day brings us. This volatility seems to have kind of a mind of its own. But as always, guys, thanks again. And of course, stay safe.